honestly tried to go low because I didn't want to look like a complete idiot on video. So I tried to go low, and I still was about 25% over what I should have been. Hey there, Coach Devin here. Something I've been telling people for a long time is don't eyeball your food. And eyeballing your food means you're guessing on how much something is. So for example, something says it's a cup of whatever. Then you take a look at that and you're like, oh, I'll guess that's probably about it, right? And I think we all do it. I'll be honest with you, I've done it for years. I did it with oatmeal for a long time. I'm like, about a half a cup of oatmeal. When I measured it, it was actually very interesting how far off I was on the oatmeal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Cheerios today. Got some of the kids' Cheerios out. Here we go. And they used to get just Honey Nut Cheerios, but once I showed up, now we're on the multi-grain. Trying to get a little more healthy right here. Okay, so I am going to, a cup of Cheerios, right, is 110 calories, right? So if the cup of Cheerios is 110 calories, I'm going to try to eyeball it. Just to be completely honest, I'm going to try to eyeball that cup of Cheerios. I'm going to pour it in a bowl, see how it is. Then I'm going to pour an actual cup in a bowl and show you how difficult it actually is to eyeball it. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't tried this yet, but I have a suspicion I'm going to screw this one up pretty bad because I've done this in the past and I've always been amazed on how much more I actually pour in. So check this out. Okay, here we go. So I've got the Cheerios. I'm going to try to eyeball those Cheerios into this bowl. We're going to give it a shot. I'm going to go for a cup. That's my plan is. And I think that is about a cup of Cheerios. Now, I would tell you that I think that probably you might actually pour more than that because that's not a big bowl, as you can see, right? I don't have enormous hands. That's not a very big bowl. But that is the kind of thing, right? I mean, I've used a smaller bowl because we have a couple different size bowls around here, but I use a smaller one just to illustrate the fact that, you don't need a huge bowl for a cup of Cheerios. But as you can see, I have my cup of eyeballed Cheerios. This is what I've eyeballed. I'm guessing that that is about a cup of Cheerios. Now, if I was to eat Cheerios, and I don't eat Cheerios much, but if I was to eat Cheerios, that's probably roughly what I'd eat. I mean, I haven't filled it to the top, as you can see. It's not filled right up to the top. It's about 2/3 full, give or take. So we're going to give that a try now, and we're going to see how much an actual cup is, and we'll see how close I actually am. Okay, so here we go. I've got my Cheerios again. I've got my cup measure. That is 1 cup, and you're going to pour that in. There we go. That is 1 cup, as you can see, of Cheerios. I'm going to measure how close I am. Now, I'm not hugely off, but you can definitely see there is more in this one that I eyeballed than in the actual cup. So let's figure it out and actually roll it out here. So I'm going to try pouring it in if I can without making a mess. There, 1 cup of Cheerios, still some left. I'm going to pour that Cheerios back in. So this is my eyeballed one, and you can see I'm actually more like, if you pull it up there, I'm more like a cup and a quarter, give or take. Now that gives you an idea. I'm basically a cup and a quarter, and I was going on the low side. I'll be honest, I tried to go low on it because I know I tend to go high if I'm doing this, but that is the extra amount of Cheerios. Now, that's not a ton. I'll be honest, that's not a ton of Cheerios in there, but imagine you're doing that for every single meal you're eating, okay? So every meal you're eating an extra half to a quarter cup to half a cup of extra food in each portion. So your meat, quarter cup more, your vegetables, quarter cup more, which obviously doesn't matter. I mean, you eat vegetables till they come out your ears. You're never getting fat on vegetables, kids. Your carbohydrates, whatever, you're off actually by give or take a quarter of a cup or more. That tells you you're actually eating 25% more food, which means 25% more calories than you actually think you're eating. This is why it's important to sometimes, and I'll tell you, what I like to do with clients is once a week, measure your food. Just once a week, not every day, because that's a pain in the ass, and you know what? Nobody wants to measure their food every day. Once a week. If you measure your food once a week, you'll have a better idea of what you're having, right? You'll have just a good, clean, honest look at what you're eating, and you will tend to be better at eyeballing it. Look, at the end of the day, we're all going to eyeball the darn thing. And if you're eyeballing it, that's okay. I don't have a problem with you eyeballing it. What I have a problem with is you eyeballing it and not realizing what you're eyeballing. So keep in mind, whatever you eyeball, probably 25% or more, you're actually eating. So when people say to me, oh, my food is great, I'm like, okay, you should probably try measuring it. Because if you measure it, you might be surprised that really your food, you might be eating very healthy food, but you're just eating way more calories than you think you're eating. And that was a good example of it because I went low. I honestly tried to go low because I didn't want to look like a complete idiot on video. So I tried to go low and I still was about 25% over what I should have been. And in reality, this is not a big bowl, right? As you can see beside my head, not a big bowl and not a very full bowl. If you were eating cereal, you'd probably eat more than that. You'd probably eat a much bigger bowl. So you could be eating up to 2 cups, maybe almost double what you think you're having. And yes, it doesn't seem like a lot. An extra 110 calories of Cheerios, not a big deal. Who cares? Except if that's done in every single meal and you're eating 3 meals a day, getting double the amount of food you think you're getting, guess what? You're putting a lot of extra calories in. So my pro tip for this, guys, is measure your food once a week. Measure your food just once a week, measure it. Figure out how much you're actually eating, how much you're actually putting in your body, and then you'll have a better idea of what you're putting in there, how many calories you're actually getting, and you can make some good decisions because in the end of the day, it all comes down to making sure you don't overeat. We don't want to overeat on the calories, so that's a trick. If you have comments, questions, things you want me to talk about, write them up down below. I'd love to hear from you. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Watch those portion sizes and don't fight the awesome.